Hello, Jeffrey. Thank you
Hello.
so much for finding time to be with us today. Jeffrey Cirio is making interview for the Ballet Icons platform. Welcome, welcome, and let's start with our traditional question.
Good.
How was it for you lately? And try to be as positive as possible. But you're a positive person anyway.
Yeah.
What's your daily routine? How you've been managing do your training? Did you develop new hobbies? Did you carry on with your existing hobbies because you had more time? Tell us more about this.
Yeah, so actually I can't really complain. Things have been okay right now. My daily routine has been fairly easy. I've been getting up and then usually doing a ballet class or a ballet bar as much as I can. Um, I've been doing a lot of cross training to sort of stay in shape. I picked up running, which a lot of ballet dancers would say that's probably not the best, but
But
um,
you're learning.
I've been trying to run a little bit more and just to keep the cardio up. And so I found that really interesting and fun. But I'm managing, obviously it's a very hard time for everyone, especially in the arts. We, we want to be dancing and moving and creating and
Can't
working.
exist without a stage, yeah, and it's been taken away for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been quite hard. So and especially like since EMB was about to put out a new creation, that was really hard for us too. So
Of
and
course.
for all organizations right now, it's been very, very tough. But I think a lot of us are trying to cope and do what we can and create and have fun. Yeah, I've been doing working on a couple of my hobbies. I've been DJing, as we spoke about before, and
Exactly.
yes. So it's been really fun to do that. And yeah, doing a little bit more photography. I mean, whenever I can go out and take my walk or go out and run. So
So many talents.
yeah, I try to do.
DJing and
Yeah, thank you.
fantastic. Fantastic. Well, it's lovely to see you smiling and laughing and to be so
Oh, thank
optimistic
you.
because this is what we need. And of course, I would like to say once more, happy birthday. You just celebrated your birthday.
Yes,
It's probably the most unusual birthday you had for a long time.
absolutely. Yeah, it was very strange, but also I've been in quarantine with a couple of friends, so it's been a bit easier, obviously, having people
That's
around. And so they made my birthday really special. So it was really nice. Yeah.
you had a good celebration still.
Yes,
Well,
I did.
looking for the next year when we are going to just celebrate even much more than
Absolutely.
everything would be missed on this year. You've just touched the subject of new production, the English National Ballet. You were looking so much forward, which sadly had to be stopped by pandemic and lockdown. Can you tell us more
Yeah. So
about this production and of course any your role in this and your feelings and how is
sure, sure. So the new production that we were going to present was Akram Khan's Creature, and it is a production of based on several stories. The original writing of Wojciech. It's an old opera, or an old. Well, it was a play which then was created into an opera, which Royal Opera House has done, and taking some of Frankenstein's story, and Akram wanted to create this new ballet of a creature in isolation, which is very fitting actually right now in this
exactly.
pandemic, which is insane how that has translated into now. And it was, yeah, it was a new production, and my role was the creature, and we worked intensely since January, um, all the way up until we had to stop. I'm sorry.
Until the moment the lockdown.
Yeah, until the moment of lockdown, we worked, and it was yeah, it was very unfortunate. But Akram's a very positive person, and he he said, we did what we could, and we will present it when it's supposed to be
When
presented.
it will be possible, and
Yeah.
I think the impact will be even bigger
I think so as well. I think people will also relate even more to what the story is about, which I think will be incredible.
Of course. Well, we cannot wait to see this. Can you say more about working with Akram? Because obviously he is a hugely admired figure in the world by not only ballet lovers, but even people from outside.
Yeah.
How is it working with this genius choreographer?
Yeah, like you said, he's a genius. He's a genius choreographer. He really utilizes his time by taking really studying what he really wants to do and his inspiration behind it. And I think for Creature, it took him a year and a half with his team to really create or not create the story because it was already created, but take his own version of it, and his inspirations. So when you get into the studio with him, he knows what he wants, and it's a conversation always with him. So it's a back and forth, give and take, kind of work process. It's amazing working with him because he has such energy.
Do you feel more like you're working with a colleague, or more with a boss?
Well, I think he's I wouldn't say he's a colleague, but I would say, and I wouldn't say he's a boss, but he's more of a leader or a head of the room. But you are always, I guess, with him, you always able to say your opinion on things, and he will really take that in and contemplate it. And if it's not something that he really wants, or if it's not something that works with the story, then he'll say. But it's a nice way of working.
Dialogue, choreography.
Yeah, dialogue. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's amazing to know. Apart from Akram, would you name some other choreographers who maybe shaped you and influenced you as a dancer today, whose choreography you admire?
Yeah. Well, with people I have worked, I've worked when I was back at Boston Ballet a couple years ago. I worked with Yoma Elo, who was originally from Netherlands Dance Theater and is the resident choreographer at Boston Ballet. So he was a big influence in my younger period of my career. I danced a lot of his work.
And what was the most exciting for you in his choreography?
Yeah, I did a piece with him that it was a very interesting evening. It was all of his works then that was kind of linked together, sort of with a river of choreography. And he took all of his different pieces and he kind of cut them and made it into one full evening. And I was the main person with also another previous ballerina, Larissa Ponomarenko. And we did dance the evening together. And I think we did 2 weeks of every single show because, yeah, it was one of those crazy periods. But that was kind of one that really shaped me in performing, and his dialogue of work. And we also did spoken word. So I had to speak and sing on stage. So it was a very interesting.
When you can have this exchange, this artistic exchange with the choreographer.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's super close to my heart and has shaped me into kind of an aspect of my dancing. Yeah.
Well, contemporary language, contemporary dance becoming more and more important and appreciated among wider audiences.
Absolutely.
You're an amazing performer of classical roles, and you've done more or less everything, all the major roles. Can you name few favorite ones?
Of classical roles?
From the classical roles.
Yeah. I mean, I love Orange, Romeo and Juliet. I love dancing Romeo. I got to dance Nureev's Romeo here in English National Ballet. I mean, Basilio is always fun. It's light. It's a fun one from Don Quixote. Albrecht is a beautiful one. It shows different levels of motion. That's from Giselle. And I think the most one that makes me really, really always happy to do is Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. in
Well,
Ashton.
it's you. It's you.
So
Definitely.
I find it very relatable, and it's always just really fun to dance that role.
Well, I would love to see you in this role.
Oh, thank you.
I haven't seen it. It would be amazing. Well, what is the biggest challenge for you before going on a stage and performing? Is it more to do with the technical control, or your ability to express your feelings and to get a really a fantastic, very powerful performance which will move your audience?
Sure. I think it really varies with what role we are performing or what role I'm performing at the time. I really think the challenge can also come with some technical things and emotion, but I think it's a combination of both. And I think it's working of finding a level where both of them are equal, where there is the technical aspect of the cleanliness. I try to be a very clean dancer. That's who I am.
You are, of course.
Thank you. And but also I really like to try to portray the role that I'm more supposed to portray. So really thinking about what placement or where I'm looking and how I'm acting at this point. And but I think it is a combination of both. I don't think one or the other takes over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your routine on the day of your important performance? And I'm sure you would say every performance is an important performance.
Yeah.
How does your day start? How much warm
Sure.
up and practice you do? Do you have any secrets, any particular routines you follow?
Yeah, I think it's fairly normal. I mean, I get up, usually have a nice breakfast, and then um, go to the theater, take my normal class in the morning. Depending on what we're doing, usually we don't have rehearsals. If you're doing a principal role, you don't have the rehearsals in the beginning of the day, but it all depends what you're doing at the time. But I like to take class and then kind of be a normal person. You know, I try to not like think about what I'm gonna do. Oh crap, I gotta do well tonight. I kind of take a walk if I have time, and then get a nice meal, a lunch before, or
It's interesting that, of course, you have to eat very well and a lot.
yeah,
Breakfast.
yeah. I
What about
like to.
after lunch?
What's that?
And after lunch, after you had a lunch, will you have any more meals before performing?
No, no. So after lunch, yeah. So I try to space it out before the performance so that I have time to digest after lunch. So usually I do a lunch and then I'll take a nap, give myself some rest, even if I don't sleep, just to lay down and close my eyes. And I like to listen to music, so I zone out a little bit. And then I always have a coffee before my show. It's a kind of a tradition, yeah, that I always do. And then I just get ready for performance, put my makeup on, do my hair, and then warm up, do anything that I need to try for the performance, and then right before
The stage is ready for you.
and then I just say a little prayer before I go out, and that's about it. Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
How do
yeah.
you feel? How do you feel before a big jump, which you have to do as part of the performance?
Yeah.
How do you compose yourself?
Um,
Maybe you didn't even think about it. Actually, what are your feelings? Can you analyze it and can you share that?
yeah. Sometimes I think it really depends on what I'm doing. So like what comes to mind is like something like Giselle before the act 2 variation. You're a bit like you're winded after the pas de deux and you have to go out and act like you're dying, which you're kind of dying at the time.
Of course.
And you come out and it's almost like for me it's like a very rush of energy that you get before that preparation of the first jump of the variation. It's an incredible feeling. It's really hard to analyze because it's I always feel like this tense intensity and then it gets released, which is
It must be amazing and very difficult to describe to people who do not do this.
yeah, absolutely. It is it's hard to describe. but there
We
is like,
enjoy for the audience. It's always very special, very magical.
well, thank you. Yeah, it's very enjoyable, and then you kind of get into a flow of just doing the dance or whatever you have to do. There's a freedom of it, and that's where a lot of dancers say there's a freedom of dance or a freedom of ballet when you're on stage, because sometimes you work so intensely on this one thing, and then all of a sudden you could go on stage, and that's what it is. That's what your work is. So it's beautiful.
What about you? Thank you. Well, what about your partners on the stage? What do you find most challenging when you have to prepare and work with a particular partner? And of course, you had partners in America, in UK.
Yeah.
You're changing different partners. What do you value the most in your partner, and what do you find the most challenging?
Yeah.
Without names.
Without names. Yeah, no names. What I valued in partnership is that I'm always constantly learning. And I think that I have done well with adapting to different partners. And that's the amazing thing, is that when you have partnered with someone so long, you get to know them so well that it just becomes second nature.
Yes.
And it's also very good to then also work with a couple other partners that you have to maybe think about what you need to do. But what I value is that I always have had partners that have been super helpful, or I have learned from. And it's yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything bad about it. It's a partnership. Yeah. I value, what I try to value is that it's about two people dancing together. That's
we rely so much on each other, really, technically and emotionally, to create a beautiful, perfect performance to give to the audience.
Yeah, and what I care about is really taking care of the person in front of me that I have to support, and I hope that vice versa, it's the same. Yeah. So.
Well, as we all know, and people who follow you very closely, your career closely, you've been moving from American companies to English National Ballet, and you made such a beautiful and smooth transition. You had a period in which you've been a guest artist, and then you became the principal lead artist. I'm sure America is missing you very much, but how was this transition? Do you... Because everyone knows American style, generally, not only in dancing, but just on personal level, American style of life, even different to British.
Yeah.
How's the adaptation for you?
Yeah, so like you said, I've moved around in the US. I danced for Boston Ballet and American Ballet Theater, and my time there was amazing. I mean, Boston is basically a home for me. My sister still dances there.
Yes.
And so, and ABT is a wonderful place. So many of my good friends, and New York, I mean, New York is crazy, but it's a beautiful place to live in. If you have the chance to live there. I mean, it is crazy. People are like, why would you want to live in New York? But there's a beauty of it. There's a beauty and aspect of living in New York,
especially as an artist. It's
an amazing city. But the transition was pretty smooth. I was very surprised, because when I guested, I think I had the opportunity to adapt to English culture and English National Ballet and the dancers, and working with Tamara, as well as working the dancers here. It was a very smooth transition. It was a very short time, but felt longer. It was only 4 months, and it felt like almost a full season. I counted all the shows that I did. I think it was like 28 shows. It was insane, like in 4 months, and a lot of opportunities. And I'm so grateful for Tamara for that.
Yes, I was just going to say, but Tamara is doing an amazing job as an artistic director of the company, welcoming the fantastic dancers, making them feel at home, bringing this amazing choreographers like Akram, doing such powerful works for the company.
Absolutely, yeah. So she has done an amazing job, and that's what was so attractive to me to the with this company. And I think it was a very clear decision for me that I wanted to come to England because of that beauty of new work and ambition for the company.
Well, we are happy to have you in London.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and London is great. I mean, it's not too much different from the US. Just people are a bit reserved. That's a bit more reserved.
maybe after the lockdown there will be certain changes.
Maybe not.
People started talking about this. Tell us about your sister and your cooperation with her and the special artistic cooperation you created.
Yeah.
You in the future?
Yeah, hopefully. I think so. Yeah, my sister and I. So my sister is a principal dancer with Boston Ballet, and we decided to create a sort of a contemporary project-based company, and the dream came out of employing friends. Really, that's how we wanted to kind of engage it, and so it's funny because our dream was like, we're just going to help people going to try to get people employed because dancers in the US are unemployed or laid off during the summer. And so we were like, I was choreographing at the time, and we said, why don't we try and do a choreographic company? We do 2-week residencies, and then, we present our work. And we really try to make a safe environment for people to choreograph and create, depending on what artists we bring in, and work with dancers that are from the ballet world and that like contemporary or whatever they want, and that they can share their voice. Because I think a lot of times that companies or ballet companies have restriction.
Of course, they have to.
Yeah, and they have to, and like a triple bill, has to fit within the what they're presenting at the time, I guess. And so I think we wanted to create something where people didn't have to feel like that they felt like they could just say what they wanted and create. And so it's been going on for 6 years, and yeah, it's been a ride. It's been really fun. We just do it every summer, and we just hope that people will like this.
Of course, when everything will come back to normal, I'm sure you will be able to resume with your.
Absolutely, yeah.
We look forward to hearing more about this.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and our final question today would be, what was your biggest lesson you've learned from this lockdown period? What became the most precious thing for you?
Sure. I actually was speaking to someone about this. What I found the most important is connecting with family and friends. And I think taking the time to speak to them and taking the time to out your day and to give someone else, their time of day to say hello and how are you and are you okay? And that's the most important, and valuing those friendships and relationships that I've learned the most. I think regardless of dance and anything, that's really what is important, loving each other and showing kindness to everyone. So that's what I've really learned and kind of thought about during this time. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. We enjoyed very, very much listening to you.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you so
much for being with us, and we can't wait to work with you in London.
I can't wait either.
Projects. Happy birthday again to you.
Thank you.
And Akram's piece coming soon. And
yes, hopefully.
Thank you so much,
Jeffrey
Cirio, for being with us today. Thank you so much. All the best. Bye.
Oh, thank you.
Bye. Bye.